Working with your subconscious mind. The following story happened many years ago. I still remember it as if it happened yesterday. The impact it had on me was profound back then, and it continues to be one of these amazing phenomena regarding humans that I think we're only beginning to understand. One very interesting day in high school, our teacher, Mr. Ward, told us he was familiar with hypnosis, so we asked him to show us how it worked. Previously, he had hypnotized a couple of the girls in the class, Paulina and Judy. He informed us that they could go under simply when he called their name, counted to 3, and then snapped his fingers. We didn't believe this for a moment, but we played along. Before his demonstration, Mr. Ward asked who the strongest boy in the class was. Rick, who played football, was clearly the strongest of us all. Mr. Ward then set up 2 chairs about 4 feet apart. He asked Rick to suspend himself between the chairs with his upper shoulders, head, and neck on the seat of one of the chairs and his ankles and feet on the seat of the other. His body from his upper back down to his calves was to remain suspended. Mr. Ward asked Rick to remain in that position for as long as possible without buckling or bending at the waist. Within a few seconds, Rick's body started to shake, especially his stomach muscles. We were timing him, cheering him on. He lasted about 15 seconds until he could no longer hold that position. Those 15 seconds seemed like a very long time to Rick. Mr. Ward then approached Paulina and said, "Paulina, 1, 2, 3, and then he snapped his fingers. Immediately, Paulina collapsed to the floor like a rag doll. Mr. Ward asked Paulina if she could hear him and if she was okay. Her eyes were closed as if she was asleep. She said she was fine. Fascinated, we watched, but we were pretty sure she was faking it. He then suggested to her that the next time he counted to 3 and snapped his fingers, her body would become stiff like a steel beam used in construction. He mentioned to her that it would be impossible for her body to bend. He said this to her a couple of more times and asked her if she understood. Still with her eyes closed, she said, "Yes." Mr. Ward then counted to 3 and snapped his fingers. We watched as Paulina began to straighten out her body on the floor. Mr. Ward asked a couple guys in the class to pick her up and place her between the chairs, in the same position Rick tried earlier, supported only by her feet on one chair seat and her upper shoulders, neck, and head on the other. Paulina was probably the smallest girl in the class. She had never lifted any weights, nor had she ever considered doing exercises to strengthen her abdominal muscles. We watched in absolute astonished amazement as Paulina remained in the suspended position for nearly a minute without bending. I could not believe my eyes. This was superhuman, what she was doing. There was no way she could fake this. This hour of class had been one of the most memorable experiences of my young life. I should probably add that Paulina's muscles were very sore the next few days. A few years later, I saw a similar demonstration on television where a man was hypnotized and suspended between the chairs. Only this time, another person jumped up and down on his stomach. The suspended man didn't bend or buckle even a bit. Something out of the ordinary happens in the mind during hypnosis that makes someone suddenly be able to do extraordinary things. The following is a simplified summary of how the mind works during hypnosis, why it is so powerful, and what this has to do with preventing stress. Consider the mind as having 2 parts, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. We could also call our subconscious mind our unconscious mind, our non-conscious mind, our inner intelligence, and many other names. It has been said that less than 5% of our daily activities are done on a conscious level. We function subconsciously for over 95% of the things that we do each day. Essentially, we are program-running automatons for most of our daily activities. In a way, this is a very good thing. Imagine how awful it would be if you had to learn how to tie your shoes every time you wanted to put them on. Or each time you drove your car, you had to consciously create muscle tension in just the right ways throughout each part of your upper and lower legs and feet, so you apply just the right amount of pressure to the gas to speed up or the brake to slow down. We call this unconscious programmed behavior, which we've learned mostly from previous experiences, conditioning. We've conditioned an incredible number of learned behaviors. In many respects, we're glad that we have learned or been conditioned to do so many things on autopilot. As an example, think of the last hamburger you ate. As the conscious director of the show, your job is to decide to eat the hamburger. After that, everything happens subconsciously. Your subconscious mind does everything else. You put the food into your mouth, but you don't need to think about how to grab the burger, how to flex and relax the muscles in your arm or in your mouth in just the right way so the food ends up in there. You begin chewing without needing to consciously make that happen. As you continue working on the food, you apply just the right amount of saliva. The tongue moves the food around so that it gets in between the teeth, and then in just the right way sends the barely broken up food down the esophagus, where peristalsis continues to move it down to the stomach. And you don't have to consciously think about any of that. Nor do you have to think about how the protein from the hamburger is going to end up being part of your right thigh. You don't consciously think about any of those processes. Your subconscious mind takes care of each of those steps too. It's pretty amazing when you think about all the things that happen within you without you being in conscious control of it. Our bodies can digest food, kill pathogens inside of us, make a baby, listen to music and recall how the next note will sound before it does, scratch an itch, repair the cut you made on your arm when you fell doing yard work last week. Organs like the kidneys, liver, heart, and all the other tissues in the body have cells that are constantly being born, living, and dying. All this happens while you ride your bike on a mountain trail, keeping balance, dodging rocks, not needing to know which muscles to move and how much to push the pedals to go faster or which muscles to apply to the bike's brake system so you slow down to avoid running into the tree. And all of this happens while you're unconsciously aware of gravity, speed, wind resistance, daylight, and the shadows that might hide some loose rocks along the trail. These and 1,000 more physiological bits of activity all happen simultaneously and usually flawlessly because your subconscious mind is really the part of you that unconsciously makes it all work. Your conscious awareness is the director. The subconscious mind is the rest of the show. The ongoing interplay between the conscious and the subconscious mind is an extraordinarily powerful and miraculous process. If we liken our mind to an old, coal-powered steam engine, the conscious mind is like the engineer who sits in the front of the train. His job is to guide the train wherever it needs to go. He sees a hill coming up and decides the train will need more power. He sees a sharp curve coming up and determines that he needs to slow down so the train can negotiate the turn safely. The conscious mind takes in data, analyzes it, and makes decisions. The subconscious mind is like the person in the back who shovels the coal into the fire. He follows the directions from the engineer and does exactly as he is told. The engineer picks up the phone and says, "We need more power." The coal guy, also known as the stoker, simply says, "Oh, okay." He then dumps some more coal into the fire. He doesn't question the command. He doesn't consider the consequences. He doesn't even see what's coming up ahead. He just does precisely what he is told to do. He only knows to perform his tasks exactly according to instructions without question and without doubt. Such is the subconscious mind. It follows instructions without question and functions to create whatever the conscious mind directs. Here is a picture depicting the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious mind. The subconscious part of the mind is subject to the directions given to it from the conscious mind. Whatever the conscious mind believes, thinks, directs, and focuses on is what the subconscious mind will work on to make happen. The conscious mind activates the dominant thoughts of doubts, fears, reservations, and considerations for what we feel we can or can't do. The subconscious mind simply believes what it is told and goes to work to create that reality. For example, when we say to ourselves that we can't learn math, or that we are shy, that we can't quit smoking, or that we have dominant thoughts about any other belief or limitation, our subconscious mind says, "Oh, okay. I will create shyness. I will make him bad at math. I will make it really hard to give up his addiction." Like the stoker, it just puts the coal in the fire exactly as it was instructed. When a person is hypnotized, an interesting thing happens with the conscious mind. The person goes into what we call an altered mental state, usually more relaxed, where he or she is more suggestible. What this means is the conscious mind sort of moves off to one side for a little while the hypnotist talks directly to the subconscious mind. Without the conscious mind filtering the information, the subconscious mind doesn't know any limitations, so it does exactly as it is told. This is why hypnosis works as powerfully as it does. What does all this have to do with preventing stress? If you're like most people, it might seem like your conscious mind is like a hive of honeybees, thoughts coming and going without much direction or destination. If you've ever stopped to watch your thoughts as they happen, you know what I mean. It's really difficult to keep your mind focused. Gaining some degree of control over your thinking is imperative, but it doesn't mean you have to corral all the bees buzzing all over the place. It just means being conscious of your thinking and doing a few simple things that help you maintain a few specific dominant thoughts in front of all the others. The subconscious mind is like the computer that runs the programs it's been given. Give your upgraded thoughts to your subconscious mind and let it work on those. Remember, over 95% of your behavior comes from these continuously running programs. The subconscious mind doesn't question the validity or the appropriateness of a new program that it is given from the conscious mind. It just does what it is told. So let's give it something really worthwhile to do. If you'd like to see your upgraded thoughts become your reality more quickly with less effort, consciously turn them over to the subconscious mind and let it help you bring them about. We will learn 3 incredibly effective ways to do that in the next 3 videos. Trying these may change your life.